I feel that the co-parent also has to be aware of this. The first person always with the mom and will be the person who will be able also to detect those symptoms, you know?
Exactly.
And if this other person doesn't know about this, first of all, there can be a lot of couple issues because
True.
the two person of the couple will not understand each other anymore.
You do not even know like what things to buy. Many people, like, you ask your relatives who have been recent moms, and on the basis of their shared experiences, you prepare your own list, thinking that this is what they have said, so this is what I might need, without knowing that in your context, in your scenario, whether or not you will need this or not.
And very often people ask me, "Oh, you're a baby planner. Do you organize baby showers?" So a baby planner is basically someone who helps future parents to organize the arrival of their baby.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Expat Parenting Show. I'm your host Ruchi Jaju, and today I have Morgan here with me. Hi Morgan, welcome to the show.
Hi, hi, Rishi. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Happy to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm good. A bit sick, so I hope my voice will be fine for the recording for the podcast. But I will do my best.
Yeah, for now you sound good to me,
Thank
and
you.
I hope your sickness doesn't trouble you much in the next couple of minutes that we are going to have a conversation.
Yeah, I hope that's fine. That's the magic of sharing with babies
Yeah.
viruses.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm sure we're going to cover a lot more in our conversation.
Of course.
All right. So, to our audiences, let me give a little introduction about Morgan, who she is, where she comes from. So, Morgan was born and raised in France, and she's been living in Luxembourg for 10 years now. And she's a mom of a 1 year old son. She's worked in corporate environment in the legal department for several years, and after becoming a mother, she decided to become a baby planner. So happy to have you here, Morgan. Welcome again to the show.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So yes, indeed, I live in Luxembourg for 10 years now. So I'm French, but I was raised in France, but just by the border with Luxembourg. So
Uh-huh.
Luxembourg doesn't really seem like a foreign country to me. It's like home. I've always been coming with my friends to go
Right.
out. For example, when I was younger, I've always been working in Luxembourg, even though I was living in France before.
Okay.
So I would say that technically I'm an expat, but I would not consider myself as an expat, not
Right.
like other people who really come from very, very
Like
far.
people like me.
I didn't know what to say, but yes,
No,
yes,
that's a fact. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty much, let's say,
yes,
a second native to Luxembourg because you have been on and off coming here.
yes, exactly. And for example, my mom, she lives like a 30 minutes drive from Luxembourg. So I mean,
Yeah. Oh, that's the
it's
beauty of Luxembourg. We can travel to any part of the country in 30
that's
minutes,
true.
right? Or
That's
even to
true.
the bordering nations.
To three countries in
To
30
three
minutes.
countries in 30 minutes. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And yes, so as you said, I'm now a mom of a little boy whose name is Isaac. So he was born in May 2023.
Okay.
And and yes, like I think as many women, motherhood changes you, right? In
Right.
in in some way, it's not the same. It doesn't change you the same way for everyone. But
Right.
let's say that for me, it really pushed me to make a change in my professional life and look for a job which would be more a passion job, like
Hmm.
something I would really be proud of and
Yes.
passionate about. And also to show him that, okay, in life, we should do what makes us happy. And if we can, of course, I mean, we all have our limitations, but it's very important. It was very important for me to show to my son that fulfilling our dreams is something we have to do.
That's amazing. That's really incredible. And in fact, when you were saying that, motherhood changes in us something, in fact, 3 days ago, I came across an article which said that actually, neurologically, also our, wiring in the brain changes
Yes,
once we deliver a kid, once we go
yes,
through pregnancy.
yes,
So, yeah, there's no doubt we could be different persons after delivering a baby.
exactly.
And our
It's not
priorities
surprising.
change.
Yes, it's not surprising at all that that then we want to make a big change or do things differently or behave differently for sure.
Yes, yes, yes. So, okay, Morgan, you mentioned in the description when I asked you about what are you pursuing currently, and tell me a little bit about yourself. You mentioned that you are a baby planner. This is
Yes.
something that not a lot of people know about. So maybe in this section of the podcast, I'd like to discuss more on this and go in detail about it.
Mm-hmm.
So beginning, like the very beginning of it, so what inspired you to become a certified baby planner in the first place and start you have your own company now by the name of the Baby Planner Company. So tell our audiences a little bit about it.
Okay. So first, how it arrived in my mind, let's say, I was 3 months postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, my husband had to travel to his home country for some wedding, and me and Isaac we couldn't go with him because it was like 40 degrees there, and he was like 3 months old. We didn't have passports. I mean, it was not practical for us to come. So I was at my mom for 2 weeks while he was in his trip, and I discovered it was on Instagram, I think, the Instagram of one of my friends who was pregnant at the time, and who hired a baby planner actually to help her to review her birth list. So I was like, oh, but what is this? What is
Okay,
the baby planner?
interesting.
And so that's how I discovered this profession. I had a look, and I thought that there was a French course for this, like to
Mm-hmm.
become certified baby planner. Of course,
Right.
it's not a regulated profession. It's not like becoming a doctor or an
Yeah, yeah,
architect. You know, it's not. You don't have a diploma. But
yeah.
there is a woman in France who created a course because she herself several years ago she started being a baby planner, and then
Mm-hmm.
she started like this training course for women who want, or men of course, who want to
Yeah.
become baby planner. Uh, and honestly, for me being I was a very new mom at the time. It was really um, like I discovered, okay, this is what I want to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was obvious then, just because I don't know if it was because it was still very fresh in my mind,
Yeah.
everything which was related to the arrival of my baby. So maybe I
Yeah.
will explain actually what a baby planner is, because
Yeah.
it's very new and it's quite unknown from most of the
Exactly.
people, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. A lot of people might not know it. I mean, yeah, I'll be honest enough. Even to me, I did not know until we had a conversation of
Of
about
course.
baby planner.
Yeah, of course, and it's the case of a lot of people, and very often people ask me, "Oh, you're a baby planner. Do you organize baby showers?" And
Yeah.
I say no, but I mean, I can understand where it comes from,
Yes.
because okay, so a baby planner is basically someone who helps future parents to organize the arrival of their baby.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really everything which is on the organization and logistic aspect of having
Right.
a baby. It's nothing related to medical.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like not being a midwife, not being a doula, not being
Right.
a doctor, pediatrician, or anything like this. It's
Mm-hmm.
really on the organizational side. So we can go further in detail a bit later, maybe in the different aspect of the profession, but it can
Yeah.
be like from recommending baby gear, for example, for people who like are a bit lost in all the choices that we have now. Like there are so many things,
Yes.
there are so many choices.
Yes.
So it could be like really recommending the right product for the special needs of certain
Different
families.
kids. Yes.
Yes. Also, training people and families about home safety, for example, about environmental health,
Yeah.
about how to organize and prepare postpartum period, you know, to be
Mm-hmm.
like really um, to be welcoming baby like serenely, like saying, okay, I have prepared as much as I could.
Yes.
And now I feel, most important is to feel good in your head, right? Saying like, okay, I'm fine, I'm in peace, I'm confident, and this is very important when you are expecting a baby. So yeah, this is what baby planner is. And when I discovered this profession, I was okay. I was convinced this is what I want to do. And because I always had this entrepreneurial mind, I always wanted to have my own project, but I never had something where I was like, oh yes, this is it.
This
that's
is something
that's
which clicks
the
with
thing.
you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because okay, as you said before, I'm working in the legal, in corporate environment, and of course I could have had a project linked with this, with my studies and with what I'm doing for living, but well, it was not what I wanted. I really wanted something that I feel passionate about. So that's why, it became obvious that I wanted to do this, and so I'm in the process of building the company now.
Yeah.
So I've received the authorization of establishment from the ministry. So the company is not yet created, but it's gonna be very soon, I hope.
The work in progress has started. So yeah.
Exactly.
All the best for the next steps.
Thank you
this
very
is
much.
really interesting and insightful for me too. I mean, I learned something new from this because initially, like, again, I thought that it's more on the logistics part and the operations part of what happens once the baby comes, what kind of things you have to take care of, what kind of products, the home environment and the safety. But you mentioned another important aspect, which is related to the postpartum issues that women face. And those, I think, when we were discussing offline, I did mention to you, like, those struggles are real, those challenges are real. And of course, every women go through the same in different intensities. Some might need some help from counselors or therapists, or maybe medically if they might need some intervention. But many things can be resolved once we have some kind of community or some guided help, like in the form of a baby planner. So yeah, super insightful for me, and I hope the audiences also find it insightful, this information, so that they'll also learn something new, that you might not have to go to a therapist or to I mean, if your condition is not that severe or intense, I mean, they can reach out to you for specific issues to discuss, to just help them navigate through this new phase that has come into their lives all of a sudden.
Exactly. So actually, my work with the parents will still be very much on preparing them for this time.
For the arrival of the baby, and then what happens?
So it's like with regard to postpartum, of course, I would explain them what are the potential states that they can go through, like this baby blues, postpartum depression. And to explain how to recognize it, because I feel that a lot of women, they feel things, but it's very difficult at that moment to put some words on it and to understand what you are going through. And then to be able also to know that you have to reach to someone, to a professional, to help you. So my role is also at some point
to guide them.
If they come to me saying, okay, I feel like this, I will be able to tell them, look, maybe you have to talk to someone and you have to take it to the next level.
What kind of help you need, you can guide them through that. Yeah, that's also very important and significant because, as you rightly pointed out, many a times people do not find the right words to describe what kind of a situation they are in or what they are going through in their heads, which could be anything. And such guidance could be very helpful for them to navigate through these times.
Yeah, and especially for example, for partners, that they also, this work that I do on postpartum, I like to do it with both parents.
Yes,
if of course sense. there is two parents, because I feel that the co-parent also has to be aware of this,
Yeah.
because he or she will be the first person always with the mom and will be the person who will be able also to detect those symptoms,
Exactly.
And if this other person doesn't know about this, first of all, there can be a lot of couple issues because
True.
the two person of the couple will not understand each other anymore,
Yeah.
and the co-parent will be like, oh, okay, this is not the same person that I've known for years or months or whatever.
This is so
I
true.
don't recognize the person, and if they are not aware of what can happen, it's very important that they are part of it. And also, because this is something we don't talk about,
Yeah.
the co-parent can also suffer from depression.
Right.
So this is really something that exists, the
Yeah.
co-parent depression. Well, they call it more often the dad's depression, but I don't like to
Label it that way.
yes, because I mean, can be another
Yes.
a co-parent, it doesn't have to be the dad, especially.
Yeah.
But yes, because for him, her, it's also a big change, and
Yes.
there is also a lot to take care of, etc., etc. So even though there is no physical, let's say, transformation, and there is not those hormonal things, it can happen. So my role is really to inform about this
Yes.
and to help on some also organization points, like how to prepare your house, how to already, prepare some things to make your life a bit easier when the baby
Right.
will be there.
Right.
But really on the information side.
Great, great. So you also mentioned, like we discussed a couple of things right now once while you were mentioning about postpartum and things like that. Apart from that, like, so what are the common concerns that you hear from parents to be, and how do you address them?
Mhm. I hear quite often future parents being a bit lost in all the admin work,
Mm.
especially in Luxembourg, because I mean, as you know, in Luxembourg you have all the papers in French or in German.
Yes.
And I can see that you can relate.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say, I mean, so yeah, for me, it was a separate case because my son was born in India.
Mhm.
So I did not have to go through that admin process. But yes, from what I've seen in the case of my friends, I can relate to it. I mean, if
Yeah,
one of the partners has to be, let's say, good enough in French, or we rely on Google Translate
exactly.
for all the support, which most of the times, like, it's not like an accurate translation of what
Mm-mm.
the message is. But yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. I do not want to
yeah.
interrupt.
That was exactly my point. My point. It's like in Luxembourg, there are so many people whose language, let's say, is
Yeah.
English, or I mean, it's not necessarily their native language, but it's the
True.
language that they use in this country, in Luxembourg,
Yes.
because this is the language that other people would understand. This is the common language. I mean,
Common
in the end,
language.
yeah,
Exactly.
English is really the common language in Luxembourg, and in a country that wants to attract as much talent from everywhere in the
Outside. Yeah.
world, yes, it's a bit tricky that then all the admin work is like French and English.
Yeah.
So I often receive questions about if I can also help with the admin task. Also, you have to submit some papers. You
Yes.
have deadlines. And when you are pregnant, you also have a lot of medical appointments. I mean, there are
Yes.
thousand things that you
Everything
are
is
in
like,
your
yeah,
mind.
time. Yeah, everything is like time. Your weekly, I mean, weekly appointments, whichever are the milestones based on that. And then along with that, I'm sure there'd be a lot of paperwork. Maybe if you
Yeah.
would like to give one or two examples of that, that is also that'll help our audiences get a better grasp of it.
Yes, yes, yes. For example, you have to make your request for parental leave if you want to
Mm-hmm.
take parental leave. So in Luxembourg, you have the maternity leave, which is
Yes.
8 weeks before, 12 weeks after. And then you have the parental leave that can be 6 months full time or part time during 1 year. I mean, it's adaptable. But when you have to request for this, so you have to request it at a certain point of time. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to fill the papers. At the same time, you also have to request it to your employer,
Yeah.
on a separate request. depending on how you want to take it, if you want to take it full time, part time, there are two parental leaves. So there is one usually for each, there is one for each parent, but
Yeah.
one has to be taken right after the maternity leave.
Okay.
It is usually, but not always, of course, but usually the one that the mom is taking, because
Yeah.
after maternity leave, then she continues with the parental leave, which
Right.
gives her a longer time with the baby.
Yeah.
And then the second parental leave can be taken up to the 6th year of the baby.
Yes.
Of which who is not a baby anymore, but
Yeah.
the kid. So so this is, and if you ask for part time, then the employer can kind of postpone it. So I mean, there are some things
There
to
are
know, right?
multiple, exactly, and there are multiple dependencies even with your employer, and then
Yes,
the administrative process in general,
yes,
which goes in parallel. As you said, that there is a separate thing that we have to do with the employer, and
hmm
there is a separate paperwork which goes along
yes,
with the ministry
yes.
to
So yes, so you have several paperwork with the administrations. You have something to do with your employers. I mean, it can be a bit confusing when
yeah.
you are not familiar with all this. And on top of this, if you add the language, let's
Yes.
say barrier a bit, that on top of it, okay, you have to understand in French or in German what exactly, because of course you want to fill it properly, because you don't
Yeah.
want this parental leave to be refused to you because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, you crossed the wrong box or whatever, you know. So
Right. Right.
this is a concern, and I think especially in Luxembourg, as you said, because of so many expats that are here,
Right.
it's something important. So this is something that I'm thinking of how to address this, and how to provide a service that could really help people on the easiest way. You know, how to make it
Mm.
pretty easy
Right.
and clear. You know what you have to do,
Yes.
like how. So yes, I'm working on some, I think, some kind of ebook, you know, that can be
Yeah. Yeah.
downloaded
Yeah.
from the website, the future website
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
exist. But yes, so this is one thing.
Yeah.
Or other common concerns, I would say that people would like now to really don't have too much things, you know, when
Mm.
welcoming baby. They don't want to buy
Yes.
so many things
Yeah.
because I mean, first I mean, a lot of us are living in apartments, for
Yes.
example.
So
So
there's
we have
space
limited
crunch.
space. Yes, I
Yeah.
mean, in Luxembourg, the price of the rent, everything, like it's everything has to be considered. And of course,
True.
we don't have so much space. We don't want to buy so many things. We are conscious about ecology, of course, also because
Yeah.
we don't want to consume.
Yeah.
We are cautious about budget. We are cautious about space. So this is really a trend. Like you know, people don't want to waste
Yeah.
space
Yeah.
or money or whatever. Like
Yeah.
they really want to have the right thing that matches their needs,
Yes.
but not having too much.
Yes. Which is a good thing.
Of
In
course,
fact, in the parents of this generation, at least what I see is they're conscious of what they are buying, which is a welcome change to,
mm,
let's say, the previous generation that has been over-consuming things
yes,
and buying things which were probably not necessary. And also, it got me thinking that, many a times, like as new parents, I'll share my experience. um, you do not even know like what things to buy. So like
mm,
you said, like from the organization point of view, like preparing yourself for the arrival of the baby. um, Many people, like, you ask your relatives, you ask your friends who have been recent moms, and that's the experience that you have, that's the network that you have. And on the basis of their shared experiences, you prepare your own list,
yes,
thinking that this is what they have said, so this is what I might need, without knowing that in your context, in your scenario, whether or not you will need this or not.
this
So
is yeah,
yeah, it's quite, I mean, quite a relevant example, in fact, that you also shared. And again, reminds me of a funny story that when I had my baby, and people said that, okay, you can buy the breastfeeding pillow.
mm,
And like, of course, it could be useful for a lot of people, to a lot of women who are doing it, but I did not find it comfortable enough for me to use. So when I purchased it, I found that, okay, it's not that great of a utility to me. And then I realized,
Mm.
oh my God, okay, I should have, taken some time to think through this decision of purchasing this particular thing. I mean, it sound like a small silly example, but yeah, I mean, those are the little things which kind of
Yes,
add on to your budget,
yes, of
to
course.
again, to the resources that you have kept for your baby. Again, it takes up space as well.
Yes.
So all these things, but yeah, great. I mean, it got me thinking to my own times when my son was a little smaller.
But for sure, it's a good example. Some things actually like this one, I mean, you would probably not know until you tried, right?
Exactly,
This is
exactly.
also like sometimes you cannot know and you have to try and you have to see with your own experience.
Right.
Um, so yeah, of course. And but I always also recommend that to see the product, to
Yeah.
try. I mean, at least in the shops, you can at least have a
Yes,
little
yes.
touch to see
Or
how you
maybe
feel
you
about the thing.
can see with some of your, let's say, same same face buddies that you
Yes,
might have made,
mm,
that you can try it for a day or two. Some kind of,
exactly.
let's say, resource sharing to see and
Yeah,
experience how you feel. I mean, not
of course.
necessarily you have to invest in buying
Yeah,
it, but you can try it for a few days, asking for a friend who might be willing to
definitely.
share it. I mean, those are, I would say, effective ways to see if this is something that you can
Yeah.
comfortable with.
Yeah, of course, for yourself and also for your baby, because
Yes.
sometimes we buy things saying that, oh, if he or she likes it, if he or she likes it,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. But sometimes then you realize, okay, when your baby is there,
Yeah.
you tend to see, okay, he prefers this or this,
Yes.
and I mean nowadays, if you want something, if you need something, most
Hmm.
of the things you
Mm-hmm.
can buy them very quickly, right? You
Yes.
can
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
either to a shop
On the
which is
click of a
nearby, or
button.
yeah, exactly. Or you can order while you are
Yeah.
breastfeeding for hours
Yeah.
and just start with the contact nap. Then you can order a lot of things, and this is how Amazon is making a lot of money, right? With breastfeeding moms.
Oh yeah, I mean, there were so many things that I did not even know that existed
Yes,
in the world of, let's say, even for maternal care. And I'm like, okay, I was like, wowed in like,
yes,
okay, there is this product also which exists, there is this also which is exist,
yes.
and then people say, okay, you should buy this, you should buy that, you should buy this, and I'm like, okay. I mean, but again, I mean, that's a lot of information which is coming
Yes,
from different sources. Many a times, filtering that information out, what is relevant for you, what is not relevant for you, is also something that parents, or new parents, parents to be, are not that comfortable with. And like, people like you can be of great help in trying to identify them with such situations, that, okay, how they can identify what is right,
yes.
or what might fit with their ecosystem.
Yeah, and what is really necessary, what can wait, because a lot of things
Exactly.
are not necessary for day one, right? It
Yeah, 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 yeah. A lot of
comes a bit
things.
later. Yeah.
True, true, true. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, there was a good conversation that we had in this section. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, a lot of examples that personally I could relate to, and I'm sure our audiences would also relate to.
I hope.
Moving back to my next question, so which is kind of, let's say, a sequential to my previous question, is are there any trends that you have been seeing currently in baby planning or parental preparation?
Uh, Actually, I think that was the answer for this question. All this
Ah, yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
thing
yeah.
that we said, of like really like trying to buy the necessary thing. Like
Yes.
the as you said, the previous generation were buying way too much, and we are trying to be a bit more conscious. And this is what I see, and this is also what I see in my if I can say, not colleagues but fellow
Yeah.
baby planners.
Yes.
What they are doing. So sorry, baby planner is is very new in Luxembourg. I think I am the first one,
Mm-hmm.
as per what I can see, what
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
research showed me.
yeah.
But in France, there are a few women doing it who are really great,
Mm-hmm.
and I can see also from their experience that this is something that the clients are really asking for. Also, safety, I think, is something that is really important now because we have somehow noticed as well, not to blame on our parents, but the previous generation has done things in a way that is not so much recommended now.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of changes in terms of
Yes.
security and in terms of recommendation from the doctors. Even just like I always take this example because my mom keeps telling me this again and again,
Yeah.
that when I was a baby, the recommendation was to have me sleeping on the side,
Yeah.
whereas now it's really recommendation from the World Health Organization is really to sleep on the back, like
Back.
to put
Yes.
babies sleeping on the back, and
Yes.
it's very important. So it's things have changed a lot, and also in the materials that we use. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
again, my mom when I was smaller, I
Yeah.
was using with my sister also. We were using this, baby walkers. I don't know if
Yeah. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You put baby in there,
Yes,
and then they walk.
the jumpers in
It
which you
can also
actually
jump.
put, yes, yes, yeah, which is
So you
not
have
good for the knees.
and you have several versions of it. So we had this
Yeah,
version with the wheels, like it
yeah,
was
yeah,
like a
yeah.
big round thing,
Round, yes,
and we could walk around the house without falling. This is
yes.
okay, probably the good point.
Good for
But
parents because yeah, at least they are not that scared.
they
But
know, yeah, they know. And of course, my mom could have things done while
yes,
we were in it, and
yeah,
fair enough, really. Um, but yes, nowadays doctors they don't recommend it for a lot of reasons. First,
yes,
it doesn't help the kids to understand balance and
yes,
risk also, like
yes.
because okay, they can run like crazy,
Yeah,
nothing's
yeah,
ever
yeah.
happened to them, right?
True.
If, even they bump in a wall, okay, it's they don't. Well, and also they are sitting on their genitals, like
Yes,
all their body is
exactly.
on their genitals because they are in this
Yes,
thing.
which isn't developed that well in that nascent stage in the initial
Yes.
few months of a kid. So that also, yeah, needs
So yeah,
time.
for this reason, it's also not good.
True.
So this is a lot of things that in the past it was not known. It's not that the parents were doing a bad thing. It's
True.
just that they didn't know,
They did not know.
and
True that.
it was not like now. Like information is flowing much more easily. Let's say sometimes a
Yeah.
bit too much
Yes.
even, but at least we have some knowledge about those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, coincidental when you mentioned of this particular example from your own, let's say, earlier childhood days, because the very same kind of jumper is something that I got for my son without
Uh-huh.
knowing that this is something which is harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I had one of my brother-in-law suggested that Ruchi, this is not good for the kid
Mm.
because of the very reasons that you mentioned. So even at this, let's say, age wherein we have plethora of information available with us, we did not realize,
Yes.
maybe we did not do the proper research ourselves as parents. Uh, and we thought that okay, a jumper or let's say it acts like a jumper slash walker is good for the kids and things like that. And then we kind of dig down and did the research by ourselves and realized yeah, this is
Mm.
not good. And immediately we
Yeah.
kind of removed this. And then we took the other walker, which was like just the handle with the wheels, wherein
Yes.
the kid can hold it, support
Yes.
it, and use it to stand by himself or herself.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those are very like little examples again, which come as and when the kids grow
Yes.
and which you also experience as a parent as and when your child grows, and those are like situations which you're not prepared for,
Yes.
but then with time and with the changing phases of a child's life you kind of learn what is the
Yes.
best thing or not the best thing for the kid.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you shared this example, because I personally like sharing a lot of examples from my experience as a mother so far, because I think it makes the conversation more relatable to a lot
Mm-hmm.
of parents who are listening to this, and if they can find some similarities, or they can take away some
Mm-hmm.
things of what not to do or what to do from the experiences that we share together on this episode, is something that I want to leave the audience with. And that's the objective
Mm-hmm.
of this podcast. So I'm glad we are having these discussions. Uh, uh, so, yeah. Okay. So coming back to my next question,
Okay.
you mentioned of safety
Yeah.
in your previous answer, that yeah, this is also a trend which new parents of this generation are more concerned about. So how important is it for parents to prepare their home environment for a new baby, and what are your recommendations, like to go like with the basics first? As you said, that not necessarily you have to invest in everything from the very beginning.
Mm.
You do it step by step. So I'd like you to go. I'd like you to go in detail about it.
So yes, actually, so to start with the first part of your question, so how important is it for parents to prepare? So we tend to see that it's a bit more important for moms than for dads, for example, or the co-parents, because I think when you are pregnant, you have this urge,
Yeah.
It's like at some point of the pregnancy, like towards 7, 8 months, like
Mhm.
when you start to reach the
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
end of the
The last
pregnancy,
phase, yeah, the last phase.
you really have this nesting urge,
Mm.
this awareness. Okay, everything has to be prepared.
Yeah,
Everything has to be like all the drawer, all the clothes
yeah,
has to be washed and
yes,
fold, properly. Everything put in the drawer. Everything should be ready for the baby to arrive. Everything should be clean. Everything should
yes,
be secured. And even though, okay, it's maybe not uh, ultra necessary to have it.
mm.
Like, I mean, when your baby arrives, what he needs or she will be very basic needs,
Yeah,
and mainly will be he or she will need his or her parents, But it's very important that the parents are in the right state of mind. Like I always say that the how you feel inside
yeah,
will very much be how you will be on the outside and how you
outside,
will
yeah.
be able to deal with like when your baby arrives,
Mm-hmm.
how you will behave, and not being stressed is very important. So if you have this urge, so if whenever you have this need, this urge to prepare, then just do it, because
Mm.
I tend to tell to the future parents, okay, even when they ask me, oh, do I need this, for example, now you have those sensors that you put in the bed, for example, and
Oh,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
check if the baby is breathing and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Baby
They ask me,
monitors and sensors.
yes. So they will ask me, is it necessary?
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking them, okay, if you ask me if this will answer one of the primary needs of your baby, the
Mm-hmm.
answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
But if this makes you feel better and peaceful and you feel that, okay, if you have this, you will be much better,
Mm-hmm.
then go for it, you
Mm.
know. But of course, we go through what are the main necessity for the baby at day one. I mean, day one when you come back from maternity. What is the important thing? So baby will need to sleep,
Yeah,
baby will need to eat, to be
yes,
clean,
yeah,
and will need to be with his parents
yeah.
or her parents. So I think it's important to respect the process of
Mm.
being ready, because for some people, being ready means having this, and this, for example.
Yeah.
Me, I needed to have a stroller, for
Mm.
example. It was
Mm.
like, we need to go buy the stroller, we need to go buy the stroller. And I was like, my husband was getting crazy, but I was like, we need it. Okay, when we came back from maternity first day, we didn't necessarily need a stroller,
Yeah,
because we were
yeah,
not going out like directly. But this was in my mind, like
yes.
I need it,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
when I had it, okay, I was ready. I was okay. This is done.
Yeah. One
I'm one
item is
step.
ticked.
Yes,
Yeah.
I take the box. It's like, and you have to respect this as well.
Mm.
It's part of the process, I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
And in terms of security, yes, it's important to have a safe house for
Mm.
your baby. What is important to keep in mind is that the level of security is not the same with a newborn than
Yes.
with like 1 year
A
old.
toddler, yeah, once they start walking.
At the beginning, you have certain things you have to pay attention to,
True.
which are also, of course, very important. But for example, you don't have before the baby is born, you don't have to protect the socket plugs
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
electricity. You know, for example, because
Yes.
okay, the baby will not crawl and put his
Not
finger in it.
immediately they will start going and exploring everything.
Yes, but you have to know that at some point you will have to do it.
Yes.
And this is also my role. So I accompany parents with saying, okay, this is we go room by room in the house, and we see, okay, what are the risks in this specific room,
Right.
in general, for example, in the kitchen, the oven, the
Yes.
dishwasher, you know, like
Yeah.
all those things. Then we do a quick audit of their house. So we go room by room, we check like according to their specific
Right.
how it's fitted out, you know, the room. And yeah, and I give them some advice to improve security for later, for which stage of the life of the baby it will be
Yes.
related to.
Yes. Those are, yeah, again, so as you are saying those things, I'm always going back to my because it's been quite some time, as I was mentioning a little while ago, before we started the recording, that yeah, I mean, for me, it's my son is 8 years now.
Yeah,
So that baby phase for me has been long back.
yeah,
And even today, when I see his baby videos, we watch together his baby videos, and we are like, you used to go below the dining table and explore
no,
us while we were eating. Used to sit there and just tap on our feet while we were having dinner. So,
no,
and
that's
then
good.
once they start walking, of course, you have to baby proof the sharp edges of any corners of tables or
Yeah,
things like that. Again, happy to share as many examples from my journey of being a mom. And there are so many. There are so many. I can
oh
go
yes,
on and on. I'm sure you can also go on and on about it. But of course, in the interest of time, I'm sure the
of course,
audience would get the feel of what kind of, let's say, small things that comes across at our you know, in our lives on a daily basis. Like once you embark upon this parenting journey, you have something or the other coming up every now and then with the changing phases of our
always,
children.
always.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, I'd like now to, let's say, maybe do one more question, which is slightly related to what we have been discussing up till now. And then I would like to switch to a different section of this podcast. So before that, maybe continuing with our earlier series of questions. There is something which, okay, you mentioned of the top concerns that the parents have when they discuss with you. So what advice would you also give to parents who feel overwhelmed with this abundance of information which is coming across their way? And we have discussed this, let's say, in last couple of minutes of the different kind of examples. I've also shared my personal examples, but something from your side, like as you're a baby planner. So what kind of suggestions would you like to give to new parents?
So I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed nowadays with all the information that we get. Like as soon as you are pregnant, you type on your phone, okay, any question regarding pregnancy,
Yes.
then you are sure that the next day your Instagram will be full of baby, pregnant women,
Oh,
and
yes.
all the advice of the
Yeah.
world that you can hear.
Social media
Yes.
doesn't leave us.
Exactly, and it's really like I was quite shocked about this. Actually,
Yeah.
I heard about it, but when it happened to me, I was like,
Yeah.
"What
The
is happening?"
algorithms,
Like
the algorithms are crazy.
crazy. And you just Google one thing like, "Okay, can I eat whatever while pregnant?" You know,
Yes.
just because you
Yes.
needed to know, and then bam, so you have everything. All your phone is full of this,
Right.
and it can be very
Yeah.
overwhelming
Yeah.
for new
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
So the advice I would give, besides to contact me, it would be to really get back to the basics. Like,
Yes.
okay, take a step back
Yeah.
when you see all this, etc., etc. Take a step back and think of again the basic needs of your future baby.
Yeah.
If if you wonder okay, do I need this or this? And if you, in your head, the question starts with, oh, if or she will like this, if, maybe I need this. Maybe if it starts with this, maybe take
Yeah.
a step back
Yeah.
and think about it like the next day, second time, and ask yourself, okay, is it really necessary for the
Yeah.
beginning, or is it something that, okay, if I realize that I need it, if you really need it and need it fast, Amazon Prime will deliver it to you the next day, you know,
Yeah. Yes. True.
if really you need it in an
Yeah.
emergency
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And most of the thing you can also buy in any shop here in
Yes.
Luxembourg. But I would really advise to, yeah, take a step back and really think of the basics, the basic needs. And also, I would advise that if scrolling and if seeing too much of those things doesn't make you feel good,
Mm.
then maybe try to avoid it.
Yes.
Because as much as this is our life now, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
we are scrolling, we are like every question we have, we can find the answer, etc.
True.
It can still be very difficult. And I will give an example, which is not so much related to, let's say, preparing for baby, but later. I had this issue personally with my son with the sleep, because on also on Instagram, on internet, you can find everything like people will say, oh, at 4 months old, your baby can start being sleeping independently and he needs to fall asleep alone without him to sleep, you know,
Right.
things like this a bit.
Yeah.
And for me, I was so into it. Like I was thinking, okay, this is the way things work. I have to do it. He
Yes.
has to do it. Why is he not doing it? Why
Yeah.
he cannot do it? So at some point, I was like, okay, I will just stop. I will just stop looking at those accounts. I will even like unfollow this kind of
Yes.
subject. I would stop because it drives me crazy, and it's not good for him either, because I was trying
True.
to make him do something he was not ready for,
Yes.
and it's so unfair to him, you know.
Yeah. 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 Because every kid is different. Like even like every parent-child relationship also evolves. And like you said, I mean, very similar situation which happened with me. I mean, because let's say most of the Asian countries or Asian style of parenting is of co-sleeping
Yes.
with the child.
Mm-mm.
And when I moved here, I interacted with a couple of like our neighbors were European. So they had an independent room for the kid from the very first day they were
Mm-mm.
born. And they were like, okay. And I came here when my son was 5 months old. So they were like, okay, you're here. So has your kid started sleeping by himself? And how have you set up the room? And I'm like, okay. Because this was new information to me, maybe because it was a cultural change as
Yeah,
well. So I was like, no, but
obviously.
we co-sleep. And this lady that I was speaking to, she was shocked that, okay, how can you co-sleep with your kid? It's not good for you. It's not good for the kid. And I'm like, but that's how things have been in our, let's say, from where I come from. And that's
Yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
like my mother has raised me, and there are so many other Asian families who raise their kids the same way. And I do not find anything wrong here. I mean, again, it's a very
Mm-hmm.
um, a person specific decision or a family specific decision
Of course.
whether to co-sleep together with a child or not to co-sleep together with a child. It's a very individualistic choice also that parents make,
Mm-hmm.
depending upon, again, their how their culture has influenced them, how they would also like to spend time with their kids. I mean, many a time it's also an opportunity for both the parents, not just the mother alone, but even for the father
Mm-hmm.
to bond with the kid when they co-sleep. I mean, they like the gentle
Of course.
hands of the kid sleeping by their side, or just having a bond with them, because at least with mothers, till the children are breastfeeding, I mean, they have their physical touch uh, with the
Mm.
mothers, but with fathers, they do not really experience that much, like
True.
only
Yeah.
in the playtime. So I also see it as an opportunity for even fathers, or let's say other
Mm.
co-parents, to kind of spend time with the kids. And again, it's a very specific situation. It's
Mm.
an individualistic choice that people make, and it varies from person to person or family to family.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And the problem is that as soon as you are pregnant, everyone has an opinion on
Yeah.
you and your body and
Yes.
how you want to raise your babies.
Yes.
So it's quite difficult sometimes, yes, to step away from. So it's not only a social media, as you just
Yes.
said, it's also like people around you, and
Yeah.
especially if those people have a different culture and they don't understand or they don't respect also your choices. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
how unfair it is to make some kind of comments to a new mom
Yeah.
who is like just doing what she thinks is the best and what is
Yeah.
the best actually for her and her baby and her
Yes.
family. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really a personal choice, and this is exactly also why I think baby planner in a way can help with this, because
Yeah.
it's really going with the decision of the parents, how they want to parent,
True.
how they want to be parents, and to
Exactly.
accompany them to be able to do it
Their
safely,
way,
because
safely,
security
and
is
their
first,
way. Yes, of course.
and their way. So I mean, as far as things are done in a safe matter, in a safe way, everything is possible
Yes. Yes.
and everything
Uh,
is fine. I mean, as far as the parents, the baby, everyone is happy, then perfect.
yeah. 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 And while you were mentioning that, yeah, the use of social media and everything, we can avoid that. There's also one more example again. I mean, I think that examples here would help a lot to the new parents, which was again in my case. You have these baby growth charts, the 3 percentile, the
Oh yes.
95 percentile, and things like that. And this again got me crazy. Because like, because you have it in two parameters of weight and height,
Hmm.
for toddlers, like from 0 to
Yes.
24 months of the child's phase. And so my son was always, like, let's say, on a above 95 percentile in terms of height, but in terms of weight he was always below 3 percentile. And
Mm.
that used to worry me a lot, because of course, I mean, you have all this information from people all across, not just the people, even online you read that, okay, below 3 percentile is something's not good with the
Mm.
kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. So it, as a new parent, it always creates, you feel fearful, you feel afraid. Am I doing something
Yeah.
wrong? Am I not doing something right? Is my kid
Mm.
all right? Is the digestion okay? I mean, you have all those questions, because of course the kid cannot speak when they are so small, and you really
Yes.
don't know how it is.
Mm.
I mean, of course, you consult the pediatrician, you go to your gynecologist, and all
Yeah.
those things are there in parallel. I mean, you check with them. So it was funny, like, because even at some point in time, it used to bother me a lot. And then ultimately, we
Mm.
asked the pediatrician of our son, and funnily enough, like, he was like, "Okay, see yourself first." And then me and my husband were looking at each other, and then, like, he asked us questions that, okay, why are you worried in the first place? That okay, your son has below 3 percentile in weight, so what? So, but then I was like, but yeah, a lot of resources say that it's not good. A lot of people say it's not good. So then he asked me, like, as you said, go to the basics first. So
Mm.
he asked just two simple questions. Is your son active? I said yes. Does he play? Does he eat well? Does he have, like, does he poops well? And all those things, like the basics, right?
Mm.
And I said, yeah. So then he said, then why are you worried? I mean, he's active. That's what is more
Mm.
required
Yes.
for a kid at that age. Like, your kid has to be active. He is moving. He's trying to crawl and all those things at that particular milestone. And like, you don't have to anything to worry. And then he was like, okay, the second question, the third question that he said to us, like, not the question, but then a statement in general. He said, you see yourself both, like, as a couple, because we both are lean, me and my husband. I was like, okay, how can you imagine your child to be like a chubby baby when you yourself are lean? I mean, of course, he did not say to demean us, but then he was like, okay, were you, how were you in your childhood? And like, yeah, we were also lean babies. Then you're like, yeah, some things are also genetic. So
Mm.
it also varies on how your genes have been. So
Yes.
if your tendency, like if you have been a particular way while growing up in your childhood days, then your kid might also have similar tendencies. You cannot expect your child to have European tendencies all of a sudden just because they are living in Europe. They will not have the genes
Yes.
of the children who come from, let's say, European parents who are more like have a good body build. So I was like, yeah, that is making sense. That's again, as you said, yeah, I mean, it was going back to the basics and making myself aware of, yeah, a lot of information may come overwhelming to us, and it's important for us to filter out, to eliminate those things at the right time, and to let your mind free so that you
Yes.
can have quality time with your kids and then raise
Yes.
them the right way.
Yes. No, totally. And as you said, you did the right thing. You asked a doctor,
Yeah.
like who is much in a much better place to answer this question than internet, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
those kind of things have really, if your doctor says it's fine, then
It's
it's
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. True. Okay. So now I'll move to the next part of
Yes.
the podcast, Morgan, and I'm excited for this one because the to my audience, I'll give you a little bit of context. How I know Morgan is because of a petition that she filed recently in Luxembourg, and I'll let Morgan share more information on that. But I came across this petition on a WhatsApp group. One of the mothers shared it. It was a petition for working women to return to work after maternity or parental leave. But that's how I came across Morgan, and then we interacted over Instagram, and then we had an offline call to understand more, and that's how where we are today, recording this podcast together. And so that was a little background story to the audience here. But yeah, over to you, Morgan. You have initiated this petition in Luxembourg to improve the conditions of women to return to work after this maternity or parental leave. Uh, Tell our audience more about it. Why did you initiate that, and what benefit it could have?
With a lot of subgroups, like for example, I'm in the early 2023 babies, meaning
Mm-hmm.
people who had a baby at the same time than me. We are in the same
Yeah.
group, so we like kind of share the same struggles. We can discuss about things. So there are a lot of subgroups like this, and one of the group is the working moms, so in which I am also, because so I'm creating this baby planner company, but I'm also still a full-time employee.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm in this group of working moms, and I could start seeing, a lot of conversation, like mothers saying, "Oh, have you lived this thing also? Have you came back to work and not getting bonus, for example? Have your employer told you that, for example, you cannot take your breastfeeding leave and things?" So I could like read things here and there, and I was really curious. It started. So I started talking about this around me, and I noticed that there are so many unfair situations that are happening to new moms returning to
Yeah.
work after maternity or maternity slash parental leave. So I will say maternity leave just to
Yeah.
make it simpler. But when I say maternity leave, it also includes parental leave. So
Parental.
it
Yeah.
means just coming back to work after having the baby, after having a long leave out
Yeah.
of work, and coming back to work. Then I started asking questions in this group, because also it happened to me, this
Yes.
like a bonus thing situation. But I have to say that I have been incredibly lucky with my management, because coming back from maternity leave was super smooth, and they are really so understanding, super empathetic. Like, have you experienced like being dismissed after maternity leave? Have you experienced being bullied, for example, because of breastfeeding? Because in Luxembourg, so when you breastfeed, when you come back to work and you still breastfeed your baby, you can receive a medical certificate saying that you are breastfeeding, and with this, you can be entitled to lighter working hours, meaning
Hours.
that you can take twice 45 minutes per day meaning 1 hour and a half in total. So for example, you can work 6.5 hours instead of 8
8 hours.
to be able to breastfeed your baby, so either in the morning, in the evening, if you like, you can accommodate your day in order to favor your breastfeeding journey, which is very important, right, for mother who breastfeed. I was discussing it with another woman from the group whose name is Fatma. She has created the Kinder app. It's actually an app, I don't know if you know about it, where you can have all the activities in Luxembourg that you can do with the kids. So she's also a lot involved with the parents in Luxembourg. So we discussed about it. It was like, okay, let's do something. Okay, let's file a petition. Okay, and like I don't know, 2 or 3 days later, the petition was filed. So in this petition, we are asking the government to discuss about granting returning to work parents job security period of 6 months, meaning that if you come back from maternity leave, if you have been away the time, you have 6 months when you have job safety, meaning you cannot be dismissed. And also, we are asking about a better frame of this breastfeeding allowance of time, because it's very difficult to say how. I mean, I think it's up to the government to find a way to make it safer, that employer cannot try to push it back, to try to not to grant it, because it's a right, it's like there is no way, and they cannot technically say no. It's just that they find a way to do it in an under the table, like like not said. It's not written, it's not said officially, but it's like those kind of small bullying, and day after day, saying oh, you're still breastfeeding, but you're 2 years old, no? Like as if they would be the judge of how long I have to breastfeed. Like,
right.
This is totally unacceptable. So yes, so this is the point of the petition, because I think a lot of moms could relate to the fact that coming to work after maternity leave, you have to leave your baby to the crash most of the time, or in a childcare system, or I mean, so you have to leave your baby. By the way, it's like no matter what your choice is as to the childcare that you take, you have to leave your baby. And it's already difficult, and often it's more difficult for the mother than for the baby.
True.
It's a heartbreaking experience when you have been together for a year. Then after it's a difficult experience.
It's a sudden change. It's a sudden change that you are not that prepared for. I mean, even though mentally you try and say to yourself that, okay, I have to move the child to, let's say, a childcare facility, and you have to start resume your work. No matter how many times you've prepared yourself and done that mental talk with yourself, but when you actually implement it, it's a different situation altogether, and emotionally also. I mean, it's challenging for a lot of mothers.
Exactly.
But before that, I mean, let me congratulate you for initiating this petition in the first place. I mean, this is, I think, and I also consider that we are fortunate in Luxembourg, where the government, let's say, allows us to create such petitions. We have this procedure wherein the public can raise their voice on issues which are important to them. And this is one such initiative wherein I think like we are utilizing our power, our collective power, and raising our voice against something that we feel strongly about the working conditions of women post the maternity or parental leave. And to my audience, again, I have listed and I've put the link of this petition in the description of this episode. please, 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 I sincerely urge you to go and check this petition out. And this is strictly for people who are living in Luxembourg. So if you're not in Luxembourg, it's not relevant to you. But as many of you who are listening or watching this on whichever platform that you are, I would request you to please go and check this petition for yourself, even if you are a co-parent. This is equally important. Do share
Yes.
it with as many people as you know. Because we need a minimum number of requests for this petition to
Yes.
be heard.
4,500.
Yes, yes, and there is a long way to go, and we need all the support in this. And Morgan, if you would like to share which is the last date for this petition, I think it's the end of this month, 30th June.
Yes, I think it's like something like 28th of June.
Okay.
But yes, late June.
Yeah.
And yes, so far we have 700 plus a few signature. And
Yeah.
yes, we need 4,500. So there is still a long way ahead of us. So we are trying to be as loud as possible, make as much noise as possible. We have tried to also reach the press.
Yeah.
But so far, some papers have said that they cannot talk about an open petition because
Yeah.
they cannot support one
Yeah.
open petition,
Yeah.
let's say.
Yeah.
But they are happy to talk about it once it's closed. But the
Yes.
thing is, we would need more people to be aware once when it's still open.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why again,
So yes.
coming back to our audience here, please do check this petition out. I'm sure if you have been a new parent yourself, then this would be really, really important for you to check it out, not just for your safety and security as a parent, but also for those of your friends and colleagues who might be in a similar situation in future or are going through currently. Okay. So with that,
Thank you.
thanks, Morgan. I mean, again, I really appreciate for taking this initiative in the first place because not a lot of people do that. Okay, so moving to my next question, which is more on, let's say, on the business side of your company and the field that you have now launched, you have now entered into. So how do you manage to get to know your business and launch your company in this new field? If you can share a little bit more about it.
Yes, sure. It's true that it's not easy because no one knows about baby planning. So it's there is a first phase of, let's say, like information and education. Let's say, so saying, okay, baby planner is this. I can help you with this, this, and this. So most of the work is now on the social media because
Yeah.
nowadays this is how
Everything
things
is there. Yeah.
work. So yes. So I'm trying to get to know the business while giving useful information to
Yeah.
people who would
Yeah.
get into the profile, and so they could really find an added value, to my account and get to know better.
Mhm.
So yes, I'm talking, for example, about administrative stuff in Luxembourg, like parental leave, how it works, maternity leave, how it works.
Yeah.
There is also this one thing which is called baby year that people were a lot interested about. It's when you have a baby and then you can get additional, let's say, notional income to count for your retirement.
Okay.
So you receive added years to your retirement when you took care of your baby, for example. So there are a lot of things, and also people don't necessarily know,
Yes.
especially when you are new to Luxembourg, for example.
Right.
So yes, I'm really trying to get to know this profession, and I'm aiming while everything will be launched, because so now it's like really about preparing everything, creating the company. I'm
Yeah.
working on the website, so it's like a lot of
I can imagine while
work,
working
and
full
once
time.
everything will be while working full time and having a baby.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's days are busy.
I can
So
totally
yes,
imagine.
and then I'm expecting to create some events, like to gather people together. I was thinking of organizing some parents to be breakfast, maybe, for future parents to meet, and maybe, have some connections and people who are living the same things,
In
the same
nearby
experience, so
areas.
they could share.
Yes.
and bind and yes, and then they can do later things with their kids, going out to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
park or whatever, that because it's you can easily feel a bit lonely, in Luxembourg
True.
because most of the people are very far from their family. So
Yes.
I think it's important to build your own circle at
Yes.
some point, especially when you
True.
become parents, because it can be a lonely experience as well.
True, true, true. Indeed. I mean, again, community takes precedence over here, and it comes as a great help when it comes to raising a child.
Mm.
Again, a lot of personal experiences are flashing by. To the audience over here, what Morgan just mentioned, I would kind of, let's say, again, vouch for it. She has a very resourceful Instagram page. Do check it out. Again, the link is in the description. You'll find a lot of resourceful information. Morgan has put a lot of information there, as she mentioned, about the different processes. She's trying to build kind of a small resource library. And because we are in this digital media age where most of us, including myself, including Morgan, and we tend to use Instagram more for, let's say,
Yeah.
even parenting related advice. So I definitely would recommend all of you to go and check her page out and follow it. And 101% sure you'll find it resourceful, because as
Thank you.
Morgan is saying, there are a lot of things, like even I'll tell you by experience that even after living almost 8 years in Luxembourg, there are new things which I learn from people, from different interactions across the different episodes that I have. And again, today Morgan shared some information with us that even I wasn't aware of. So I mean, again, I do not want to overwhelm you with different information sources, but then if the information is coming from a credible source and the information is something which is well vetted, this is something that I definitely recommend you to go and check it out. And okay, coming back to you, Morgan. We are now coming towards the concluding part of this podcast. And before I ask you for the concluding remarks, I have two more questions to you.
Yes.
And I won't take a lot of your time, because I know you're also away from your baby and it's your baby's sleeping
Fine.
time. So,
It's that is the day to put him to bed today, so it's
okay.
fine. It has to be sometimes shared, right?
Yes, of course, it has to be some shared. All right. So, my next question to you, Morgan, is how can companies be more inclusive in this entire process of, embracing, let's say, parenthood in general, not just for mothers, but for fathers too. But yeah,
Yes.
especially it comes more to mothers, taking into consideration the post-delivery situations at workplace.
It's actually a very good question, and I mean, I wish I had the magic answer to solve it all, but I don't think I have, unfortunately. What I think is that I think mentality
Hmm.
it's a mindset
Yeah,
problem, right? I think mothers are seen as a liability and not an asset
asset.
in
Yeah.
the society, like actually in the corporate world.
Yes.
It's and I think this should change, and how probably with the like raising awareness.
Mm.
I know that there are also now some companies that are doing some work inside of the companies, to raise awareness, to
Yeah.
train the leaders on how to deal with the return to work. Someone who is absent for a long time, either for because of maternity leave, because of sickness, long
Yeah.
sickness, how to deal with it, how to better reintegrate them, how to be empathetic, how to understand what they are going through. Because uh, for sure, it's difficult to relate to something when you haven't lived it, right?
Yes.
I mean, some
Yes.
of us are more empathetic than others, for sure,
Right.
and
Right.
some people have more difficulty to understand
Understand.
other
Yeah.
feelings and experience. But in the end, it's all about this, you know. It's about being able to, even if you haven't lived something, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is also that we have noticed a lot with collecting those testimony
Yes.
is that a lot of those bullying or like stories with the dismissal, etc., were initiated by women,
Yeah.
like
Which is the sad part.
HR, management. Yes,
Yeah.
it was women who even had a child, who even
Yes.
were themselves mothers. So, and I think it's so. Me, the only explanation I have is that those women, for example, also had a very hard time when they came back. So they think
Yeah.
it's like the way it should be, and then
Yeah.
it goes again and again and again until we finally stand with each other. You know, at some
Yes.
point, I mean, it has to stop. And what is sad is that in the end, mother experience
Yes.
can bring so much to the business. You know, like it's
Indeed.
like because as we said previously, we change, right?
Yes.
Our brain changes, our way of thinking changes, and being a mom can be such a good asset for a company. Like the mindset of a mom can bring a lot, but this is not seen like this for the moment. And I really hope that making as much noise as possible, raising awareness,
Yeah.
really talking about it, and sharing stories will change things. And like there are things that can be done that are not so difficult. Like for example, a mom coming back, like having
Hmm.
a nice little space for her to be able to pump. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
this makes a big difference. So
True.
how many women told me, "Oh, I had to breast to
In
pump
the
in the
toilet.
toilet," you know?
Yeah.
And
That's
well,
not a
a
place
lot of
where,
them
yeah.
refuse to, and I can understand. Like, I mean, why? And just having a small place, a bit like fitted out with a nice chair and just like a few like a cable or
Yeah.
whatever. It makes a big difference already,
True.
and it's just consideration, you know, and yeah, consideration to life in the end, because
Yes.
what mom are doing is like creating life and creating the future.
Yes.
So just respecting this, at least respecting it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the the minimum we can do. And yes, I mean, I don't have the yeah, I don't have unfortunately this magic answer of how we can do it, but
Yes.
at least we can try and not hide anymore and not pretending that everything is okay when it's not,
Yes.
and stand for
True.
each other and stand for ourselves and our own rights. You know, this is the first thing probably.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, well, you rightly said you would not have the magic answer, neither would I, nor would individuals like us would have, nobody would have this magic answer, but collectively, let's say we have to raise voice for something which we feel strongly about
Mm.
or which we feel uncomfortable with. And maybe to corporates, having celebration of International Women's Day or Mother's Day would be meaningless if these small nuances of welcoming uh, these working
Yes.
women into this journey of parenthood is something that we can take care of that could bring big change, not just
Mm.
in the motivation levels of these working women, but also like at an
Mm.
organization level, as you rightly said, that women can bring so much. So many skills, so many things, and competencies once they become a mother. Like the very instance of, let's say, people management or
Mm. Oh yeah,
patience, right? Not a lot of people
definitely.
have enough patience or enough capability to manage people well. And this is something that probably comes very handy and naturally to women once they become
Yes.
mothers
Yeah.
without even us
Yeah.
realizing
Take care
it.
of a team. Mm. Mm. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you, Morgan. My only last, let's say, question to you would be, what would be your concluding remarks to our audiences here? What would you like them? I mean, what would you like to leave a message to them?
yeah, so thank you very much already for listening to me. I hope that it was at least a bit useful and pleasant to listen to. And yeah, so if you can support this petition, it would mean a lot. This is really important, and share it as much as you can. This is the only way we will be able to do it. To
Yeah.
all the to all the women who will sign it, force your husband to do it,
Yeah.
because we don't have so many names of men on the signatories.
Yes.
So push for it and
Yeah.
oblige them to
Yes.
sign. And one thing maybe for future parents, because this is my area of specialty.
Yeah.
You are not alone. It could be a lonely journey, especially when you are an expat and you are away very far from your family. I can only imagine, because I haven't lived it myself, and still having my family close to me, I still had some very lonely moments. And I think that somehow postpartum and maternity will be somehow lonely, because
Yeah.
this is how, I mean, there is no way other way, but you are not alone, and really you can ask for help. Like, there are a lot of institutions that can help. There are things around. It's just that maybe you haven't heard about it, but
True.
if you speak about something, you will always find someone who has the same experience, who lives the same thing for sure. Like
Yes.
Any new mom would probably have lived half
A
of the
similar.
things that you have lived. Yes.
True.
So just talk about it, and you will feel much better when someone will tell you, but me too, don't worry, it will pass. Like,
Yeah.
and then the day will be brighter. And so I think this is the key. This is really the key.
Couldn't have asked for a better advice from you, Morgan. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for our thank you to our audience as well, who have been listening and watching us all this while. We really hope that the message that we were trying to convey through this episode came out to you. And as Morgan requested, again, I'd request you to also to please go and sign this petition. If you are already in Luxembourg, you all also know probably the demographics, that we are not a big country with a very large population. So the chances of making it 4,500 something new parents would be less, or I don't know how much would be the probability, but yeah, even going statistically or mathematically, we would need all the support coming from all the genders. So, and anyone who wants to support to this cause, please, we request that you go and sign this petition, and do follow Morgan on her Instagram page. You would definitely find it very resourceful. Thanks again to you, Morgan. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
really,
you.
really appreciate you being here today on this conversation. I really enjoyed talking to you. And I hope I did not scare you much. I wanted to keep it very candid so that we could have this conversation like friends.
It was perfect. Like, for our first podcast, thank you very much. It was great. I'm super happy I've done it with you. You are like really so nice and attentive, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, audience. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I'll see you in another episode.